everyone, welcome back to C2 Tactical in Scottsdale. Glad you're here with us on the channel. Another question that I got asked, and I get asked with maybe not crazy regularity, but occasional of, they see me pulling up like this and they go, John, I noticed that you don't carry a fixed blade Centerline. All the cool kids carry a fixed blade Centerline. Why don't you? Well, let's talk about it. Today's sponsor is Bond, a personal security platform and a very useful tool between everything is fine and calling 911. It's the I'm uncomfortable button that gives you and your loved ones instant on security agents so you're never alone. Bond agents engage and deter perps who want no witnesses. They have a 100% track record deterring crimes of opportunity because it's like installing a can of OC spray on your phone. It's for when you can't carry tools and for your loved ones who won't. Check out Bond's special ASP discount at the link below. Time out. Once again, I want to be very clear. I'm not telling you what you should carry, okay? I'm giving you my understandings here of what I've seen in real life defensive encounters and what my cost benefit analysis is. For a good bit, I carried a fixed blade Centerline. I carried a clinch pick, because that was what all the cool kids carried, okay? And you can access it with either hand if you're in an entangled fight, and you can get after somebody, okay, fine. And if somebody needs to, if they're trying to kill you, and you can articulate a reasonable deadly threat and you can't get to your gun, then go, okay? And I do carry a knife. I want to tell folks, okay, this is the pocket knife that I carry. It's a pocket knife that I carry all the time because my pop gave it to me. It's very special to me. Benchmade even actually put the active self-protection name on the side of it for me. This is you can see it's in such great shape. I use it all the time. It's a 730S Aries with an Elishewitz blade, and it has these purple stocks on them that are limited edition. You can't find them anymore. Benchmade said if I ever crack these, they won't be able to replace them in this color. And so it's very special to me, but I carry it because it's a utility tool, right? I might need to open a box, or I might need to cut a string or something like that. And I find a pocket knife to be a useful thing to have around. But ask me here, how many people have I seen in real defensive encounters? We've analyzed somewhere around 50,000 or a little bit more defensive encounters that have happened to private citizens at this point. How many of those have involved the use of a knife? 0 is the answer to that. How many people have we seen that were carrying a gun that needed or used a defensive knife? 0 in that particular thing. We do see some entangled fights that involve guns. Could a fixed blade Centerline have changed the outcome of any of those? Man, I struggle to see that in a private citizen context. I think a police officer context is different. Remember, a police officer's mission is to close with a perpetrator, a bad guy, a criminal, and take them into custody. So they're going to close to manipulation stage. They're going to close very, very quickly. They have to, right? That's their mission. And take somebody into custody, that means wrestling and grappling with them. That means that close contact. Whereas us as private citizens, we break contact. We want to break contact with a deadly threat. We don't want to wrestle with some dude. And I'm not saying that it couldn't possibly happen outside of my purview. I'm sure it has happened outside of my purview. I just think it's very, very, very rare, okay? And so is this a problem that I worry about? I just really don't. I think that I carry a gun on my person. I've seen people in entangled fights with guns that got some positional dominance, drew their gun, went to work, and won, okay? I don't know that I've ever seen one where the possession of a fixed blade knife held Centerline, or even a pocket knife. I think even worse, right? Like, so even way worse than a fixed blade would be a folding knife. You stick a folding knife in your pocket, or people love karambits for some reason. That's a great way to deglove your fingers. But like, oh, I'm gonna do my thing here. No, you're not, man. You're just not. Now you're talking about like crazy. Oh, that's why I've got the Emerson Wave open, and man, that's super cool, and I can go after somebody. And you see people, and they're gonna do this knife fighting, like cool Kali guy stuff. That's great. If you go watch knife attacks on the channel, that's not how they happen, right? So the guy grabs a holdie and just freaking sewing machines you until you die. That's what really happens in real knife attacks. And so, this idea that says, oh, I've got this guy in my guard, and so I'm worried about him. We're wrestling over a gun, so then I'm going to draw my knife, and I'm just going to freaking, slice up his arms and his carotid artery, and he's going to bleed out all over me. First of all, may God bless you, and may your trauma therapy and trauma therapist be good at helping you overcome the trauma of that, because you're going to be absolutely covered in some other person's blood. Secondly, though, again, I think sometimes we get wrapped around the axle. We spend a lot of brain cells on stuff that don't end up in the private citizen world mattering a whole lot. I'm not telling you to not carry a defensive knife. okay? I'm telling you, I've never seen one utilized. I'm telling you, and I think some of that is because, again, if I get a knife out, right, my area of ability to affect anything with this knife ends at the end of the blade, okay? So I really have an arm's length. It might lengthen my arm's length by, what, 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches? So basically, though, it's very close contact when my mission as a private citizen is to break contact. And whereas a firearm on my person, I can affect out to functionally an infinite distance. Now, of course, there's some limits, right? So you get out to 280 yards, you're not going to affect that with a handgun. But my point is, in a defensive context, that's infinity, right? So a firearm has a useful distance of long range. Whereas if I've got a pocket knife or a defensive folder, if I've got a defensive fixed blade knife and some guy's robbing this store and I go, I need to stop that guy. Am I apt to draw my fixed blade knife and go chase that guy? Only if I want to die. Whereas with a firearm, I go, that guy over there needs to be shot. I draw my gun and I go to work. So I think a firearm is a way more useful tool. I don't carry a defensive fixed blade knife. I don't think it's wrong to do. I think if it is, please get good training, right? Please make sure that you're not just like watching Kung Fu movies and watching YouTube videos on that stuff. You really need to get to the mats. You really need to get with some trainers. You really need to get with trainers who know what they're doing with fixed blade knives and how they're useful and where they're useful. I think that's a select cadre. So if you are not willing to do that, I just think that you're carrying it as a whoopee, as a lucky rabbit's foot, which is fine too. I don't care. I'm not going to be at your gunfight. You do what you want to do. But that's why I have a box opener, and I wouldn't cut cheesecake with this. You know, a lot of people are like, I might need to have cheesecake. No, this one's too nasty to cut cheesecake with. I'd not use it for that. But for a box opener and a string cutter, that's why I carry a knife. Hope that helps you.